Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a floating element window card that features the brand new Essentials by Ellen Fall 2022 release. This is full of Halloween and fall themed products that I think you're going to have a great time creating with. Now, I have the entire release here, and it is a big one. And so I thought I would just kind of flip you through all the products really quickly. You will see me use these throughout the month in other projects that I'm creating here on my blog. And I would love to hear which product is your favorite so that I know which video I can put up next. I love this Booze Inside mug set, and it is my dream for someone to come out with a Santa Claus version of these adorable shaped mugs. Now this one here I will be using in our card project today, and I'm going to make that ghost float in the window of my card. It is kind of magic. It makes for a spooky effect, but when Carissa does spooky, it's just really a vellum ghost that floats. There's not much scary about it. Now, I love that Hocus Pocus stamp set that I just showed you. And there's a couple of great word dies, including that thank you and hey boo die set. And I will be using that in today's project as well. Now, the standalone dies in this release are really fun, and it includes this pumpkin mug as well as a ghost treat hugger die. You may remember last year I shared several ways to use the bat treat hugger die, and this ghost treat hugger is kind of the same. I love this modern tags die set as well as the add-on for the pyramid box die. This is a candy corn add-on, so you can use it with the pyramid box die or on its own. And then there is the new tall house box die. Now this die is deceiving because when you get it, you think it's just the base, but it actually comes with some window and door options as well. And if those window and door options are not enough for you, then you can pick up the Tall House Box Halloween add-on that has a roof piece and more window and door options. Now there are a couple new hot foil designs available in the Essential Ovals, and the Essential Oval hot foil plates coordinate with the Essential Oval dies. And here are the Essential Hexagon hot foil plates, which also coordinate with the Essential Hexagon dies. Now there are a lot of hot foil plates and dies in these essential sets from the Essentials by Ellen line. I encourage you to check them out. I tend to use them all the time. And I will be using the ovals in today's project. But first I'm going to start out with this oldie but goodie Winterscapes stamp set from the Essentials by Ellen line. I actually used this stamp set to create all of my Pantone inspired ink swatches, and I am using the back side of this stamp today to create little squares of color that I can then die cut some images from. So I have a color palette that I'm using. It includes Concord and Ninth Stardust, Clay Mask from Catherine Pooler, Ballet Slipper from Concord and Ninth. I have some Twilight, some Ginger, Orange Peel. I will have all of these listed in the YouTube description. But I'm going to start with this Hey Boo die, and I am going to center it up on this square of color here. And the reason I did this is because I didn't have cardstocks that matched these colors, and I like to do this when I want an exact color that kind of matches my ink. So I'm just die cutting the Hey Boo words from each of these squares so that I can make some different colored letters. And then I am going to use this kind of copper toned glitter paper. This is from the Memory Box Majestic Hues paper pad. It has some gorgeous glitter cardstocks in it, and they die cut well. I just like to throw my metal shim into my sandwich when I'm die cutting these glitter cardstocks. Now, in addition to the individual letters that this Hey Boo die set cuts out, there is also a base layer. And so I die cut the base layer from some Essentials by Ellen Vellum. And then I stacked 3 plain white die cuts behind my colored die cuts that I have here. So there is some dimension on this. If you don't like to do that, then you can go ahead and glue it down straight. But if you know me, you know that I like big cards. Dimension doesn't scare me, and sometimes those tedious things for me make the difference between a ordinary card and an out of this world card. So I went ahead and adhered all those letters onto the vellum layer, and I have that gorgeous little hey boo sentiment there. And now I'm going to grab the ghost stamp from this Ghost Ancestors stamp set. And when I first saw this, it totally reminded me of Disney's Haunted Mansion. I'm not sure why, but it did. And so I have a piece of Essentials by Ellen Vellum loaded into my Mini Misty. I'm inking up my ghost with some VersaFine Claire Nocturne pigment ink and stamping it onto the surface of my vellum. I did prep the surface of my vellum with a powder tool because I'm using a little bit of clear embossing powder over this black pigment ink. And then I'm going to heat set that. And that's going to give me a nice, deep, rich, dark, black, glossy image on this vellum. And it's going to really make my ghost come to life. Now I repeated that process with the eyes for the ghost because he needs some eyes. And now I have my elements here that are kind of building up. Now I need to create the window for these images or these elements to be suspended in. And so I am going to use the Essentials by Ellen oval hot foil plates. And I am just going to create a hinge using some low tack tape onto this A2 size card panel. I've just kind of centered it up. And I'm using the Glimmer blush foil. And I'm just going to lift up my hot foil plate that's kind of on this tape hinge. And I'm going to slide it underneath with the pretty side facing the design of my hot foil plate and the not so pretty side facing towards my cardstock. Now I'm going to take this entire thing and I'm going to flip it with the hot foil side down onto the platform of my Gemini foil press. And I am going to allow this to heat up for a minute. And once that timer goes off, I'm going to go ahead and remove the platform from the base, run it through my Gemini Junior, and now I have this gorgeous oval foiled circle on my card front. I love this blush colored foil for fall, and I think it goes with that kind of coppery glitter that I use so well. Just loving the fall vibes this year. So I die cut that using one of the Essentials by Ellen Essential Rectangle dies. And now I'm grabbing the coordinating Essential Ovals die, and I'm going to set that aside while I create a background piece of pattern paper. So for my white papers today, I am actually using the Concord and Ninth white cardstock. I have recently fallen in love with this cardstock. It is fabulous for foiling, fabulous for ink blending. It stamps beautifully. And I'm going to use the Essentials by Ellen Painted Stripes stamp set. It's another oldie but goodie to create a striped pattern on this panel. And you can see I just have my stamp mounted in my Misty stamping tool. And I'm stamping in each color and then moving it down a few squares and stamping again in another color. Now this is a really fun color palette for Halloween. My friend Heather shared it with me and I absolutely love it. And all the colors that I'm using to create this striped background will be listed in the YouTube video description. So if you're looking for a particular color, be sure to check there. So I finished off my pattern and now I have this really fun stripe. And I also did this in all mushroom ink. So you can see here's the colorful version and here is the kind of not so black and white version. So now back to the oval dies. I went ahead and held that in place in the center of the oval using some low tack tape, and I ran that through my die cut machine to create the window on my card front panel. Now I'm lining this panel up in the center of my card base, and I'm holding that die in place once again, and that card front is in place while I run it through my die cut machine. So it's kind of nestled in to the previously cut oval in the card front, and then I die cut the card base as well so that these two windows will line up. Now I'm also going to use that same oval die to cut a window in that striped pattern paper that I created, but first I'm going to suspend my elements in this window. And the key or the trick to this is a little strip of acetate. So I'm using the Essentials by Ellen Clear Plastic. It is one of my favorite acetates, and I've cut just about a 1/2 inch strip. And now I'm using some liquid glue to adhere this onto that acetate strip. Now I did want to note that I adhered a piece of white cardstock behind the vellum backer. And I added a layer of foam adhesive between that white cardstock and the vellum backer. So that white cardstock is what is adhered to that acetate. Now I have a second shadow piece that I've die cut from some white cardstock, and I'm adding some liquid glue on the front of that, and I'm going to put this on the back of the acetate. So now that acetate strip is sandwiched between those two white layers, and that backer piece is really just to hide the adhesive that I used to adhere the front grouping onto that acetate. Now I'm using some liquid adhesive on the back side of my card front here, and I've just added it into a general area so that I could slip this acetate piece behind the window here. So I have it through the window on the left-hand side, and I'm getting it positioned where I want it. Then I'm just gonna bend and kind of tuck the right-hand side back behind the card front. And now my pieces are suspended in this window. They look like they're just kind of floating there, and I thought this was perfect for a Halloween card. Now I'm going to take the excess and just trim it off with a pair of scissors. And now I am taking that striped panel that I created earlier, and I'm adhering it onto my card base using some tape runner adhesive. So I'm just making sure that I get this all adhered down really well. I'm lining up the two windows so that everything is seamless from the front to the back. And I think this just adds a fun pop of color. Now I have a layer of foam adhesive on the back of my card panel, and I'm removing the backers and then lining that up onto my card base as well so that the windows line up, and then you can see those elements suspended in that window. Now this was a great opportunity to add some embellishments, and I'm adding the High Supply black stars, and I'm even adding them onto the little strip of acetate that's kind of exposed around my floating die cut elements there to kind of give them that magical suspended look as well. And that completes my card for today. I absolutely love to create these floating element window cards. They are so much fun. They just kind of have a sense of magic to them. And I thought it was perfect for this little ghost. This is my version of spooky, I guess you can say, because he's floating in the middle of the card. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies, as well as a link to the entire new Essentials by Ellen release for September 2022. You can also join me over on Instagram today. We are celebrating this brand new release with an Instagram hop, and you don't want to miss all the inspiration and prizes there. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.